With Jalen Ramsey out and you don't have the Ramsey-Howard pairing, is there now more pressure on Jalen Phillips and Bradley Chubb to make stuff happen defensively?
Well, I just think the whole front needs to play good each and every week, and regardless of who we have playing in the secondary. Obviously, without Jalen, it's a little different back there, but you know, if he was there, we still expect them to play good.
As we talk to you now, do you have clear cut options, or have you made clear cut decisions on cornerback and safety alongside Javon Holland?
We've still got the guys there. We're going to work all the guys in there, you know, at the safety and corner position, depending upon the packages.
We talked about trust with Cam Smith being a rookie and having to earn the trust of the coaches, his teammates, making sure he knows what to do. How would you describe the trust level and the comfort level that you have with Cam Smith and also the veteran Eli Apple right now?
I think Eli's come in here. He came in late, I think after Jalen went down, and he's done a good job of picking up the system. He's a pro, knows how to approach things. So good level of trust there. And as far as Cam goes, I think it's still a work in progress.
I believe you call the game from the booth. I was curious how long you've done that, and what you obviously I know that's the aerial kind of all 22 perspective. But what do you like about watching and kind of calling the game from the booth?
I think it's the best place to watch the game from. There's a reason they filmed the game from up there for the tape. There's a reason the owners, who could sit anywhere they want, sit there. It's the best place to watch the game from, and you can see things and adjust better.
With whoever has the green communication dot, or
No, go through give it to Camp, and Camp communicates it.
That's interesting.
Before joining this organization, the last thing you did professionally was help the Eagles in the Super Bowl, help the Eagles offense against the Chiefs defense, right? So with your knowledge of Brandon Staley and his defense, have you been able to offer anything to Mike McDaniel and the offense in the same way this week?
Not too much. Ronaldo Hill, who's now here, was with them the last 2 years. So if there's anything to be had that way, he's a better source than I am.
What's the most unique thing about Herbert?
I don't know that unique's the right word. The guy's just highly, highly talented. Obviously, he's got great size, got a big arm, but yet he throws the ball with touch. He throws a very catchable ball. Can throw it to anywhere on the field, short, intermediate, and deep, and real deep. And very elusive. He's a good scrambler. When he pulls it down and runs, he's fast. He's a complete quarterback.
Coach, we heard the stories about Coach Bevel's surgery this off season and kind of how he put some time in here. I'm curious whether it's your time here at the Dolphins or coaching against him in the past. What have you kind of learned about Coach Bevel over your time in the NFL?
Coach Bevel? Well, I mean, when I was with the Niners and he was with the Seahawks, we were probably, over that 2-3 year stretch, the two best teams in the league. And we had some really good battles. And we've talked about him a little bit here and there. But he's a really good coach. He's doing a great job with the quarterbacks here. I always have had a lot of respect for him. I think he has a good knowledge of what it takes to win in this league, not just to accumulate stats. And I always had a lot of respect, and now that I've got to know him, my respect was justified.
Staley is a coach that has been under you. What can you say about his career progression and getting to this point?
Well, obviously it was fast. We hired him in Chicago, and his job before that was as a D3 coordinator. And we were looking for a young guy to hire, and we hired him. And then 3 years later, he gets the coordinator's job at the Rams and does a good job there. And so, and then he's the head coach of the Chargers. So it's been fast for him. But he's done a good job wherever he's been, and he's been deserving of it. And he's got a really good team, got a great roster at his disposal, and I expect that they'll have a very successful season.
From a media standpoint, Verone McKinley has been low-key. That's from our standpoint. What have you noticed about him during training camp and preseason?
Yeah, I think he's done a good job of picking up what we're doing. He's a good communicator back there. He helps Javon, quarterback the secondary and the defense from back at the safety position, which is important. And I just think he's gotten better and better as, throughout the offseason, the OTAs, throughout training camp, and he's done a good job.
Is there anything that he does especially well?
I wouldn't say anything especially well. I think he's pretty equally adept at most everything.
Vic, this trio of Chargers receivers, what kind of matchup challenges do they present?
Yeah, they're a really good group, and really it's more than three. But obviously Mike Williams is got the size, speed, outside the numbers threat, both short, intermediate, and deep. Real tough matchup. Keenan Allen's the savvy receiver who does really a good job of getting open, has great knowledge of the passing game, running his routes the right way, and he's got quickness and elusiveness. Palmer, number 5, is a strong player. He's kind of half wide receiver, half running back, and when he gets the ball in his hands, he's really, really good. And they have the 2 rookies from TCU. The first round pick, Johnson, is the size guy with good speed, and then they have the elusive, really fast guy that runs the fly sweeps, all the gadget type stuff. So, they're 5 deep at receiver.
Taller guys, taller receivers be tougher to scheme against because even if you have the right coverage, they can just go up and get a ball over.
Yeah, if they're talented. There's some tall receivers that, don't move very well. Unfortunately, Mike Williams is not one of those. So, Mike Williams is kind of like Devontae Adams in that regard. Big receivers, big catch radius, run good routes, strong at the ball. Tough matchups.
Have you generally used the left-right cornerback setup as opposed to where a particular cornerback might follow another guy around the field?
Done it both ways over the years. It's kind of all dependent upon your players. Some guys can't flip. They get grooved into one side and they don't want to leave that side. Other guys can do it all day long. So I've done it both ways over the years, and I think that will be a week-to-week thing with us.
Are there any changes to the green dot headset setup? I know Jerome has usually had it.
Yeah, he'll be one of the inside linebackers. Baker to start off for sure.